Yes, we went to the airport and flew to Russia. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a whole other video about how and why we moved to Australia. So if you've not seen that one, there's a link in the description or down below or in the top corner of the screen somewhere. Go back and watch that one first before getting into this one. Now, before we went to Australia, we had the idea of maybe going business class or even going fully out and going first class. However, we sat down, talked about it a little bit more, and we decided with the money that we would spend, we'd rather go overland as much as possible. And that's exactly what we did. So we prepared ourselves for the trip to spend 6 months on the road, travelling across Russia, Mongolia, and loads of other places, which I'll get into more a little bit later on. We said goodbye to our family and friends and we flew to St. Petersburg. So on the 19th of August, we headed down to Gatwick Airport, followed by close family to say our teary farewells. We arrived in St. Petersburg in the middle of the night. We had nowhere to sleep, so we hung around the airport until the sun came up, and then we headed off into town to find our hostel. Okay, so we're not allowed to check into our hostel until about midday. So we did what most people do when they've got nowhere to sleep. We went to sleep in the park.
Streets of St. Petersburg, eyelids closing, bags weighing down, falling asleep on park benches. And now we're still waiting. Oh, we went to the hostel to drop the big bags off. That was easy to find. Not spoke to a Russian fella that was on the street. Between our English and his English and Russian, we found it.
We joined the Intrepid travel group and started our trip east towards Moscow. We did an overnight train and woke up the following morning in Moscow. We really didn't get to see all the sights of Moscow due to a small mishap on Claire's part. You see, she lost £12,000. Now let me go back to 2008. We were leaving the UK for good. We were travelling to some pretty obscure and remote places. We could not always guarantee the use of an ATM or the risk of losing an ATM card. So what we decided to deal with was cash and traveller's checks, as they were supposedly easily replaceable. We split the £25,000 between ourselves and headed off on an adventure of a lifetime. See, on the day that we boarded the train to leave St. Petersburg, why am I not in focus? Come on, camera. Claire was not her usual self. It turned out she had lost her half of the money. But that was the whole point of having the traveller's check, so that if we did lose the money like that, it would be easy to replace the traveller's checks anywhere in the world within 24 hours. And that's exactly what we tried to do. Apparently, they cannot. After we spent some time trying to contact American Express customer services line, they eventually told us they could put a hold on them so we couldn't use them, or if they had been stolen they couldn't be used. But before that could even happen, we had to speak to the small claims department that was based in Central American time. Now bear in mind, we're in Moscow. The time difference to the American Central Time is pretty huge, and we're about to get on a train for 72 hours. After 2 days talking to them on the phone, not knowing where and how we're going to pick up our new traveller's checks, because we're on the move constantly for the next 5 months. And just as we're about to leave Moscow, Claire had another look and she found her now worthless traveller's checks at the bottom of her bag. It was now a race against time to get them reactivated before we left town. The following 3 days, 75 hours to be exact, was spent on a train heading east. And finally being able to relax that our traveller's checks have been reactivated and were worth their value again. We saw the landscape change and the wealthy looking west was left behind for the more industrial looking east. That said, we had some amazing vistas out of the window of the train. We shared a cabin with 2 Russians and drank vodka, 8 mainly dehydrated noodles.
Well, some of they're like, I've tried to guess the fate, they're all noodles.
Bacon, is it? And once treated ourselves to the fancy buffet car. But most of all, we watched the world pass us by out of the windows. We have 3 days left.
That's neat.
We got 3 3/4 days left. The train stopped every 5 hours or so, allowing us to stretch our legs. We stocked up on supplies, said bye to our new friends that we'd met. Eventually, after the 5,000 kilometre plus trip, we made it to the city of Irkutsk, gateway to Lake Baikal.
Oh, I can't get full length away.
Just in the garden, it is raining, doing a bit of a sound check. How does that go? I can hear this. I can hear it dripping.